Welcome back to the podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about something that I think is one of the most underrated performance hacks you could say you have access to. And the best part is it's completely free. We're talking about sleep performance. Now, when most people think of sleep, they think of it just as some, passive thing you just do because you have to do it. You go to bed at some point, you wake up, grab your coffee, just get on with your day. And as long as you're not falling asleep at your desk or something or feeling mad tired, throughout the day, you probably think you're doing okay. But here's the thing, there's a huge difference between getting by on sleep and actually performing because of your sleep. So, this episode is not about sleep deprivation. I'm not going to tell you what happens if you stay awake for like 48 hours straight or go weeks on end with like 5, 6 hours a night. That's not really helpful because most of you who are listening are not that extreme. Instead, what I want to dig in today is what happens when you go from good sleep to great sleep. How much better can your energy be, your focus, your mood? How much easier is it to make progress in the gym, stay consistent with your diet, or even just enjoy life, have a better quality of life? So, by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how much sleep you actually need, not just the generic 8 hours you probably heard, a ton of times, how to make your sleep deeper and higher quality so you wake up feeling much more restored, and then how to align your sleep with your body's natural rhythm so you don't feel like you're dragging yourself out of bed every morning. You wake up and you're ready to go. And then finally, a practical step-by-step plan to optimize your sleep starting tonight, even if you can't necessarily add more hours to your schedule. So if you've ever wondered why you feel tired, no matter how much you sleep, why you get that afternoon slump every day, or how to finally stop hitting snooze on your alarm like 5 times, this episode is built for you. So let's set the stage with the big picture. Sleep is not just rest, it is where almost every major system in your body literally does its most important work. So when you sleep, your brain, it cleans itself. There's a system in your brain called the glymphatic system that flushes out waste products, things like beta amyloid, plaque buildup that build up throughout the day. And if you don't sleep enough, those waste products don't get as cleared. There's a system in your brain called the glymphatic system that flushes out waste products, things like beta amyloid that build up throughout the day. And if you don't sleep enough, those waste products don't get cleared as efficiently. And that's when you wake up potentially feeling groggy, like you can't focus, or like your brain is just not firing on all cylinders. You're just not mentally on point. Sleep is also where your hormones get reset, and not just the big ones like you'd probably think of testosterone or growth hormone potentially. The I'm talking about the entire hormonal cascade as well. So cortisol, your stress hormone, comes down to normal levels. Thyroid hormones reset, so your metabolism stays where it should. And hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin, they bounce out as well, so you don't have constant cravings the next day. And I want you to think about the last time you pulled a late night, maybe only slept like 4 or 5 hours. What happened the next day? Chances are you were probably more hungry than usual. You probably craved junk food. Your mood was likely a little bit all over the place, a little bit on edge, and no amount of caffeine seemed to actually wake you up within reason, of course. And that is biology at work. And what's interesting is you don't need to be in total sleep deprivation to feel those effects. Even just getting, which is pretty common, 6 or 6.5 hours a night, is actually enough to put you into what scientists call chronic partial sleep restriction. So you might think you've adapted to it because you just feel fine, but studies show your reaction time, your focus, and decision making keep getting worse on a steady decline, even if you don't necessarily notice it. Not to mention your physical health will take a hit too. Your immune system will get weaker, so you're going to get sick more often. Your blood sugar control gets worse, which can lead to afternoon crashes. Your recovery from workouts slow down, meaning more soreness, more injuries potentially, and less gains overall because you're going to have to pull down your training volume to match your recovery capacity. Enough of the negatives here. Here's what better sleep actually looks like in everyday life. So when you're getting great sleep, you wake up before your alarm without feeling like you just got hit by a truck or something. Your morning coffee or caffeine hit becomes optional, not mandatory. You're much sharper at work or school. You finish tasks and make fewer mistakes. You're more patient with the people around you. You stop snapping at your coworkers or family potentially over little tiny things. And most importantly, your cravings and appetite are under control, making it much easier to stay on track with whatever nutrition plan you're following. And all of that can come from adding as little as 30 to 60 minutes of extra quality sleep per night. I know, almost sounds too good to be true, but think about it. You're already spending a third of your life in bed. So optimizing that time is one of the highest ROI things you can do for your health, your physique, your performance, overall quality of life, the way you experience life day to day will completely change. And this is why I like to think about sleep the same way you'd think about programming your training or your nutrition plan. If you can periodize your workouts, you can track your macros, you can dial in your recovery, why wouldn't you approach sleep with the same level of detail or attention or effort? So now that you understand why sleep performance matters, let's break it down into three pillars. So we got duration, how long you're going to sleep. We got quality, how well you sleep. We have timing, when you sleep. Now these three pillars, they work together. So you can sleep for 9 hours, but if it's broken up sleep, poor quality, you're still going to wake up tired. Or you can have high quality sleep, but if you're only getting 5 hours of high quality sleep, still underperform. And if your timing is all over the place, let's say you're staying up till 3 a.m. on weekends, then trying to be on point at 7 a.m. Monday morning, you're basically putting yourself through jet lag every single week. So starting with pillar one, duration, getting enough sleep, because most adults need between 7 to 9 hours of actual sleep per night, and that is not time in bed. That's your time asleep. So for most people, this means you probably need to be in bed for about 8 to 9 hours to actually get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because you're going to spend some time falling asleep, you're going to spend some time rolling around, maybe waking up in the middle of the night, etc. And this is usually where most people think they're getting more sleep than they actually are. If I asked you how much sleep you got last night, you might say about 7 hours. But if we tracked you with a wearable, it might look more like 6, because you were scrolling for 20 minutes, then woke up to use the washroom, then woke up again at 5 a.m. and dozed in and out before your alarm. And this is why the first step to improving your sleep duration is tracking what you're currently doing. Now, you don't need an expensive wearable, although if you have one like an Apple Watch or a Ring, Whoop, definitely use it. But if not, just write it down for 1 week. Write down when you got in bed, when you think you fell asleep, how many times you woke up, when you woke up in the morning, and then how you felt when you woke up. And you might be surprised. Many people, honestly, discover they're really getting only about 6, maybe 6.5 hours of sleep per night. And then once you know your baseline, we can try adding just 30 minutes of sleep per night for 1 week. And that might mean getting to bed a little earlier, setting a screen cutoff time, or potentially just cutting off like one episode of your Netflix at night if you watch a show. And what's cool is you don't have to do this forever to get the benefits. So there is a concept called sleep banking, which is one of the most powerful tools you can use if you can't always sleep as much as you like, which in reality is a lot of us. And sleep banking simply means proactively increasing your sleep time in the days or weeks before a period where you know you're going to be more stressed or sleeping less. So think about when you've got a big work project, maybe exams coming up, a bender, or even just a crazy week in general. Instead of running yourself into the ground, you can add an extra 30 to 60 minutes of sleep leading up to that week. And research shows that doing this can actually blunt the effects of the upcoming sleep deprivation that will be inevitable. Now, you'll start going to get tired. You can't fully outsmart your biology, but your performance and mood will not take as much of a hit. So, your action steps for pillar number one: track your sleep for a week, try adding 30 minutes for the next week, and then notice how your mood, energy, focus, and cravings change. If you can consistently get yourself into the 7.5, 8.5 hour range, you're going to notice the improvements in energy, memory, recovery, overall performance quite fast. Probably in just a few days, to be honest. Okay. Now, pillar two: quality, making sleep more restorative. So now that you're sleeping enough hours, let's make these hours as optimal as we can get them. Sleep quality is about three things: sleep latency, so how quickly it takes you to fall asleep; sleep efficiency, how much of your time in bed is actually spent asleep; and sleep architecture, how much time you spend in restorative stages like deep sleep and REM sleep. So even if you hit the recommended, let's say 8 hours, if your sleep is constantly interrupted or you're only getting light sleep, you're still going to wake up feeling exhausted. So let's talk about some simple things we can do to improve our sleep architecture. First being keeping a consistent sleep schedule. This is by far the biggest lever for most people. Go to bed, wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends because your brain loves consistency and your circadian rhythm gets stronger when you wake up and go to bed at the same time. It kind of learns when to start producing melatonin to make you sleepy and when to start raising cortisol in the morning to wake you up naturally. And the more consistent you are, the more you reinforce your circadian rhythm. Not to mention, growth hormone release is tightly linked to your circadian rhythm. So if you care about body composition, a consistent sleep schedule means better physique outcomes as well. Next, we want to optimize your sleep environment. We do this by making your room a bat cave. Dark, honestly, as dark as you can get it. Use blackout curtains, even sleep mask, even small amounts of light like a street light coming through your window or one of those little LED lights can disrupt melatonin production. Next, we want it cool. So aim for around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius because your body needs to drop its core temperature to fall asleep and stay asleep. And last, we want it quiet. So this is where white noise, earplugs, a fan can come in if you live in a noisy area. Third, control stimulants. If you struggle with falling asleep, one of the first places I would look is your caffeine intake. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 8 hours, meaning if you drink a coffee at, let's say, 3 p.m., half of that caffeine is still in your system by 10 p.m. So simply cut caffeine off afternoon or at least switch to decaf in the afternoon would be my best bet. Fourth, we want to manage light exposure. Your brain, incredibly sensitive to light, especially blue light from screens and even bright light at night specifically. It essentially tells your brain, hey, it's daytime, so wake up, which will suppress your melatonin and will make it much harder to fall asleep and then reduce the quality of your sleep. So you've honestly got two options here. One, just go tech free an hour before bed, read a book, stretch, journal, meditate. Or option two, my preferred route, wearing some blue light blocking glasses or using a blue light filter if you don't have a pair. Or you can set a red light filter on your phone in the accessibility feature where you tap the power button 3 times and the screen will go red. Big hack. I would do that. Okay. Pillar 3, timing. This is the most overlooked pillar, but it might be the most impactful for a handful of you. So basically, your body runs on a circadian rhythm, that 24-hour clock, the internal clock that tells your body when to feel awake, when to feel sleepy, controls a bunch of hormonal cascades, some of which we went over. But the problem is, most of us live totally out of sync with that rhythm. For example, if you stay up until 1 a.m. doom scrolling TikTok, then try to wake up at 6 a.m. for work or school, you're fighting against your biology. Same thing if you sleep in until noon on weekends. You've basically given yourself jet lag without ever leaving your house. So here's how to fix it. Step 1, morning sunlight. This is the single, honestly, best thing you can do to reset or set your circadian rhythm. Go outside within 30 minutes of waking, get 10 to 15 minutes of direct sunlight in your eyes, and this will do two things. First, suppresses melatonin so you feel awake, and second, it'll set your internal clock so you get sleepy around the same time that night. It'll also support that natural spike in cortisol we want in the morning, so it's going to support the cortisol curve, which will look like a rise in the morning, then a taper off into the evening. Step 2, keep your wake time consistent. So even if you stay out late one night, still try to wake up within an hour of your usual wake time. Step 3, pay attention to your evening light and try to dim lights in your home as the sun comes down. And definitely avoid bright overhead lights before bed. So switch to warm, low level light, even red light if you can. Tells your brain it's time to wind down and prevents anything that's going to blunt your melatonin production. Even your skin has photoreceptors actually. So if you're like, let's say, flipping on those crazy bright lights at night, your skin will detect that and then subsequently reduce your melatonin for that night. Step 4, stop inducing jet lags on weekends. This is a big one. Can't tell you how many times a client's results have dramatically improved simply by addressing this. Let's say you normally sleep 11 to 7 a.m., but on weekends you're staying up till 3 a.m. and you're waking up at noon. You're shifting your clock by 3 to 4 hours every weekend. Your body literally thinks it's in a different time zone. So try to keep bedtimes and wake times within 60 minutes of your normal time. Like I said, even if you go out late, still try to wake up at the same time. It's going to be a hard day. You're going to have to stick it through. Maybe a tad bit extra caffeine in the morning, but your circadian rhythm will be much better for it. And when you do this, you'll find you'll wake up with more energy. You're going to need less caffeine overall and have fewer afternoon crashes. even if your total sleep hours don't change that much. So, when putting the three pillars together, duration, quality, and timing, you create a sleep routine that works with your physiology, not against it. And I think it goes without saying, we're all human. So, it's not about being perfect every single night. You're going to have late nights, you're going to have early mornings, and times where life gets essentially in the way. Let's say you're going out, that's completely normal. Once a week, like I said, still try to wake up around within a half an hour of your normal wake time. But if every single weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, you're inducing jet lag, your performance will take a hit. But if you can make your average night of sleep a little bit longer, a little bit deeper, and a little bit more consistent, I'm telling you, the benefits will compound over time. You're going to better energy, better mood, better performance, better body composition, quality of life. Everything improves when you dial in your sleep, to be fair. So now you've got three pillars: duration, quality, and timing. And you've learned how to track, how to analyze, and dial in your sleep. But turning all of this into a daily rhythm, into your actual routine that actually sticks, is where we veer off course, because knowledge is great, but the goal is to actually feel better every morning when you wake up, not just know a bunch of a theory or science about sleep. So I'm going to tell you, when I work with clients on their physique, their health, their performance, one of the first things we do is create a few non-negotiables to start their day and end their day. Because when your mornings and nights are consistent, the hours in between just go hell of a lot better. So here's what that can look like. You finish dinner, the lights in your house start to get dimmer. Not all at once, just gradually. Maybe you switch to lamps instead of overhead lights. Your brain starts to get the signal, okay, starting to wind down. You're not, after dinner, frantically answering emails, doing work. Those of you who doom scroll on your phone, you've given yourself permission to shut down any thought provoking, stimulating activity for the day. And instead, you pick a calming activity. Chill on the couch, maybe watch a show, maybe you stretch for 10 minutes, you read a book, you can journal, whatever is on your mind, so you're not like lying in bed later running through tomorrow's to-do list. Your nervous system then starts to shift gears into the parasympathetic state. Your heart rate slows down. You're going to start feeling much calmer. So when you do finally crawl into bed, the room is cool and dark. There's no little blue glow from a TV or phone lighting up the ceiling. You don't lie there staring at the clock because your brain is ready for sleep. And subsequently, you fall asleep fairly quickly, not because you're completely exhausted, but because your body knows it's bedtime. Now you wake up 8 hours later, and here's the key: not to the sound of an alarm blaring in your ear, because your body is ready to wake up. Maybe you definitely still set that alarm just as backup, which is a good idea, but you wake up a few minutes before it goes off. You sit up, you open your blinds, you step outside, get some sunlight in the eyes, and instead of slamming caffeine or coffee right away, you give yourself a few minutes to move around and actually let your body wake up naturally. You could wait 60 to 90 minutes. I'm a big fan of waiting about an hour, but we're not aiming for necessarily perfection. You're still going to have coffee. You're still going to do basically your same routine, just implementing those little things one at a time and then layering them on top of each other. But the most important thing: morning routine, get that on point. Evening routine, get that on point. And then everything else in between will kind of sort itself out. And then, of course, you're going to have nights where you stay up late, mornings where you're going to lie in bed a little bit longer, maybe entire weeks at a time where your schedule is just crazy. Life is just happening. But if you can build a rhythm where most nights look like that, calm evenings, predictable bedtime, mornings that set you up for your day, I tell you right now, you're going to feel like a different person in just a few weeks. And the cool thing is, you don't have to completely overhaul everything at once. In fact, I wouldn't do that. You'll often slip up and fall back to your old habits pretty quickly. Don't go to 0 to 100. Start with one thing. Maybe it's just committing to dimming the lights, shutting off screens 30 minutes earlier, or getting a pair of blue light glasses. Do that for a week, see how you feel, then add another piece to the puzzle. Maybe you now make your room cooler, or you invest in blackout blinds or curtains, or try going for a walk first thing in the morning to anchor your circadian rhythm. And week after week, you layer in these things. Every little improvement towards your habits and your routine you make to your sleep, it will compound. Better sleep tonight means better energy tomorrow, which means better decisions about food, training, work, focus, which means you sleep better that night. And the cycle just keeps feeding itself. And if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, but my life is absolutely crazy, Oscar, I can't get 8 hours every night, that is totally okay. Do what you can, even small changes, 15 extra minutes of sleep, one less night of staying up until 2 a.m., one less cup of coffee after 12 can make a massive difference over time. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, pick 2 changes. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier, put your phone down half an hour before bed, get outside to see the sun first thing in the morning, then track how you feel. Notice how your mood, your focus, and energy shift in the right direction, and then keep going from there. Add the next thing, and build momentum, because better sleep is quite literally the cheapest, most powerful performance enhancer you have access to. So that is a wrap on today's podcast. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you want 30 days of free advice to fast track your transformation, your nutrition done for you, free training plans I've put together, and much more, you can click the first link in the description. For coaching and the discount codes on supplements I use, they're in the description as well. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.